Are we live? I think we're about to be live. Got an excellent connection, according to the software. So, wow. The credit card debate is heating up. We've got the Ramsey personalities going toe to toe with my main man, Caleb the Hammer. So, this is a fun discussion on the Caleb Hammer subreddit. He made it on the Ramsey show in this little segment where they ask the question, are there such things as credit card people? So, the followers of Caleb Hammer, Caleb Hammer is sort of like the young man's Dave Ramsey in a sense, our generation's Dave Ramsey. Actually, and I don't know if he's technically a millennial or a Gen Z, but I think he's like 28, 30, something like that. He's a little younger than me. But anyway, I will never understand their focus on no credit cards. The Ramsey thing is basically chop them up. Use debit, use cash, never ever touch credit cards. I will never understand their focus on no credit cards. As someone who pays off the balance every month, I'll happily keep racking in the free money the card provides. Now, granted, in most cases, for most people, the rewards themselves are pretty much a pittance. Okay? But, for me, I find that they have utility in some other areas, right? You have, for example, a temporary emergency. And you don't want it to substantially impact your liquidity short term. You can pay it now. You can pay it off extremely rapidly, maybe have little to no interest get charged. Maybe it's something where you just want a little bridge loan to cover something for a couple weeks or something. Not even a whole statement period. You could throw it on a credit card and then pay it off completely and do quite well doing that. I had a situation like that come up. I owned a property. I wanted it to be saleable. I wanted to get rid of it like ASAP. There was a major plumbing undertaking that was going to cost a few $1,000s. Now, I had the cash to cover it, but what I found was that using the cash would make me a little uneasy. I would be feeling a little bit strapped in that instance. So I threw it on one of my credit cards, got the work done rapidly, got the house sold within a few weeks to an investor for cash, immediately paid off that bill once I got the wire transfer, and there you go. I can't remember exactly how long I had to hold that charge on there. It may be that I got hit with interest to the tune of like $20 or $30 one time, but it did not, substantially alter my life in a sense, right? Now, yes, I could have paid cash for that repair, still paid all my bills, and, gone about my business and probably have been okay. But in a sense, that gave me peace of mind to have that option to not necessarily have to drain my bank account. Because what if, heaven forbid, something else would also have come up? Maybe something that, you can't use a credit card for. I don't know. To me, it just seemed like a pretty good option in the moment. It was a lever I could pull in that instance, right? The other thing, now for the most part, my day-to-day purchases are made on different credit cards. And yeah, I do pay off the balance, the statement balance, every single month. So I avoid getting charged interest on carried balances. And yeah, I do collect the little pittance cash back, whatever. But there's also an increased amount of protection that you get. So this person, they went out to eat on Memorial Day. Bill was $38 and some cents. Tipped $10. Okay, so far adds up. That's a reasonable average tab for a lunch or dinner out, whatever. $10 on that amount, a pretty normal tip size. Now, when the server went to run the card to close it out and add the tip, they made the bill somehow $4,600 because they keyed in the wrong number. They keyed in the order number that was on the ticket instead of the tip amount. So the order number must have been 4,600 instead of keying in the tip amount when that time came in, which is crazy mistake to make. But the restaurant admitted fault, says it's now with their credit card processor and they'll reverse the charge. Filed dispute with the bank, which was initially denied, but since be able to reopen by providing receipt. The investigation could take weeks. Any other recourse here? I had a few grand in savings, but other than that, I'm basically paycheck to paycheck. So this has been financially devastating, to say the least. So this clearly was not done on a credit card. This was clearly done on a debit card, which was linked to the person's personal liquidity. Now, the issue there... Now, they say they're paycheck to paycheck, but had a few thousand in savings. So I'm guessing that this was everything or basically everything in the bank for the person. Okay. Now, set aside the fact that somebody who's saying that they're basically paycheck to paycheck is dropping like $50 on, eating out when they really genuinely can't afford it, according to the self-diagnosis of being paycheck to paycheck. They also linked this purchase to an account that directly impacted their ability to make their regular monthly obligations, right? This is probably the same checking account that they linked to this debit card that they pay their rent, utilities, and other, if they have other debts, car payment, car insurance, whatever, they're paying it probably from the same account. And so this being tied up is really going to, it's going to put termites in their financial woody for a little bit here. So that's not great. Now, if it had been done on a credit card, their general ability to pay their other expenses wouldn't really be greatly affected. If the credit card had a limit that was below this amount, the charge would have gotten declined, and the person maybe would have had an opportunity to realize their mistake of what they were doing. Also, it would be, generally speaking, okay, you spend money on a credit card and somebody commits fraud or whatever, they have spent the bank's money, not your money. If it's a debit card, they've spent your money. Now, do you think the bank is going to more aggressively work to protect when it's their money or when it's your money? The protections you get, generally speaking, disputing fraudulent charges or whatnot on a credit card, for whatever reason, tend to be stronger than when it's done on a debit card or through ACH or whatever, when it's linked directly to your bank. When it's cash just straight up coming out, the protection is just abysmal, okay? That's why a lot of different scams out there, they insist on something like a wire transfer or a Zelle or some type of untraceable cash equivalent or crypto or something like that. There's a reason why a lot of individuals who run scams don't say, hey, charge it on the credit card. All right. When you do stuff on a credit card, the bank seems to always find a way to claw that money back, if it's a case of fraud or whatnot. Now, I genuinely feel for this person, but multiple mistakes were made in this situation where using the better method, not living beyond means, a lot of other things. But the fact of the matter is, the mistake about the 4600 there is the restaurants. But in spite of that fact, this person at the very least is going to be extremely inconvenienced for a while. And had it just been a credit card, the inconvenience would be much reduced. I had a case once where someone who was sharing authorized user status and had a card issued in their name, it was a shared credit card account, had the physical card actually stolen and used to go on this little shopping spree, and Visa noticed almost immediately, actually, and the charges and such got reversed and everything. They figured out that the cards were gone before we did. That's pretty crazy. When it's a debit card, though, man, seems like it just slips right through the cracks conveniently. Now, little bonus round with our boy Caleb. One of the more recent guys on the channel was choosing Mountain Dew over his future. I mean, that's a little bit hyperbolic. I mean, the guy does have kind of a wicked Mountain Dew habit. Drinks at least 2 of these bottles a day. I might seem like a little bit of a hypocrite because you guys have seen the rate at which I consume different energy drinks and Coke Zeros and stuff, but this is just so much corn syrup going down this guy's throat right now. Now, a lot of different people have issues with. I mean, this sparked a little bit of a debate because, in the course of going over the guy's finances, our main man here, Caleb, expressed some concerns over the health implications of drinking this much Mountain Dew. Now, some people say, hey, why'd you veer into that territory? I mean, yeah, financially, the money he's spending on Mountain Dews at the gas station or whatever, that's not good. But the health stuff is out of bounds. Well, my personal view on this is that the health stuff affects the financial stuff, right? So if you drink so much Mountain Dew to the point that you become diabetic, insulin costs $1,000 a month for some people here in the US, right? So I sit here and I say, if the one affects the other, I think that's a perfectly reasonable thing to bring into the conversation, right? Because if the person is day to day spending $5 or $6 on Mountain Dew, yeah, the $150, $200, whatever a month is something. But then if you also were to add $1,000 in insulin on top of it because the guy goes diabetic, well, geez, that's going to make it really hard for him to dig out of whatever hole he's in and or invest into his future. So I think if it's in any way related or could become related later, I think it's fair game. And honestly, the lack of discipline, right, exhibited to control that impulse to get that Mountain Dew or whatever can carry over into other financial aspects as well. Okay, this is the one thing I think that, like, I've said this before. Financial stuff is two things. It's behavior and arithmetic. The arithmetic is, for the most part, for most people, pretty simple. Okay? But the behavior, as in the motivation, the discipline, the habit forming, whatever it is, however you want to call it, that leads to you abiding by the arithmetic, because that's all a budget is just allocating. You have a finite amount of money, you allocate a certain amount, and you figure out how much you're going to have left at the end, right? Well, if you don't stick within those parameters, the arithmetic suddenly becomes absolutely meaningless. And so that seems to me to be the thing that, like, the Dave Ramsey FPU thing seems to get. I mean, that's where they get a lot of positive results for a lot of people. And, you know, these individual audits, I think, like, that's the intention behind it, right? To give people that wake-up call or whatever it is that tells them that this is serious stuff and you better, you know, kick your butt into gear. But I don't know. I don't know if it's because he doesn't have, like, something, you know, catchy, like the so-called baby steps or whatever with these really rigid rules. Maybe that's why we don't see a lot of success stories actually coming out of these financial audits, because most of the follow-ups I've seen have been pretty damn depressing, to be honest with you. But, you know, hopping back over to the Dave Ramsey subject, you know, someone was, you know, making this point. Surely not everyone is so bad with credit cards as they say. Basically, the Ramsey show basically says, hey, you know, if that temptation is there to carry a balance on your card, you're going to use it. I don't pay interest at all. I get the bonuses. I love how smooth it is. And this person correctly points out it's about half and half. A little less than half. A little less than half of everyone pays off their balance within every month, which means that more than half don't. Also means a metric boatload, we'll say, of people who are absolutely responsible with credit card consistently do not pay interest. I wouldn't have a problem if they just said it's their policy and explained that most Dave Ramsey subscribers aren't that responsible, and that's why they have it as part of their program to cut up the credit cards. But their stance is just flat-out denial that anyone can benefit from credit, while they also shill services necessitated by their advice to have zero credit history. So what they mean by that is, so the one kind of debt that they seem to be, you know, permissible about is a home mortgage for your primary residence. And not everybody offers manual underwriting, which is the process you would need to follow if you don't have a credit score, which after some time on the Ramsey program, or if you follow it from day one, from the day you turn 18 until the day you retire, you will never have a credit history to begin with. So you have to do something called manual underwriting, which it's a thing, but not everybody offers it. And, you know, they have these endorsed like Ramsey trusted real estate agents and stuff to help you get through that process and everything. Well, just one of those little things worth mentioning. They, and somebody else here was pointing out, you could also, because there's an argument also that, hey, and maybe they have, yeah, there it is. Okay, so there's the guilt factor too, right? They have the Ramsey show, saying a single mom who can't pay her bills is paying for your travel rewards. Basically saying that like they can give rewards to the people who do pay their balance every month on the backs of the people who don't, which, true. But on the flip side, there is an argument that Dave Ramsey makes money off people who are in bad financial straits. Someone who's good with their money probably doesn't pay for Financial Peace University. That is kind of a good point. If you're doing well with money, generally speaking, and I've said this in a lot of my videos, if you're doing well with money, if you're financially successful, what do financially successful people tend to have in common? They don't tend to feel the need to pay somebody else to tell them what to do with their money. They're not buying courses from trading or investing gurus, whether that be stocks, real estate, crypto, whatever. And they certainly aren't paying somebody to tell them how to get out of debt and make a budget, right? If you're already doing well, there would be no point. So while the credit card companies make money off of people who are financially illiterate, and you benefit off that if you collect the rewards, so too do the people selling the so-called solution. And hey, the solution, I'm not going to say that it doesn't work for a lot of people, and it does. And they do, to their credit, when people call in to their radio shows, etc., with a really bad situation, they will often just give away the program. But flip side is that in exchange, like if the person receives the program for free, gets out of debt, succeeds, ends up being able to invest, well, good news. They have these so-called SmartVestor Pros, which are just financial advisors that sell mutual funds. Now, financial advisors and their mutual funds, there's a commission component to that. Same with the so-called Ramsey trusted agents that do the that'll help you get like your manual underwriting and such if you need to buy a house. So basically, even if you get the program for free, if it ends up working out for you and you do get out of debt and you end up, following the thing, it necessarily leads you to things that their sort of business network also benefits from, because to be a so-called SmartVestor Pro, I think there is some kind of financial component where Ramsey Solutions benefits from you buying mutual funds from those people. They get some kind of, I don't know if it's like a referral thing or whatever, but there is definitely, or you have to pay something to like get that like seal of approval. Probably same with the trusted agents. So it is, mad respect for finding a solid niche, and respect for the positive results they have for some people. But I do think Caleb is probably right that there are so-called credit card people, and there are some who simply lack the tools in their tool belt to effectively use credit wisely. Debt is, in some ways, just another lever that can be pulled, but if used irresponsibly, it can spiral very, very quickly. So, if anybody happens to be following along right now, I open the door to questions and comments. I will read them off. Otherwise, I'll be wrapping it up here shortly. I started the stream a little later than my usual time, so didn't get peak live viewers, unfortunately, this go around. I would like to hear from anybody, though, either if you're live right now in the chat or in the comments, as to whether you consider yourself a credit card person or not. A la Caleb Hammer, Dave Ramsey personality debate. Well, I don't think we've got anybody currently wanting to divulge. So, as such, I think I'll take my leave. I think I've said what I wanted to say on the specific topic of the credit card thing. So, take it easy, everyone, and have yourself a wonderful rest of your Sunday. Hope the work week isn't getting you down and you don't got a case of the Sunday scaries. Links to all the things you can follow on are in the description below. Peace out. Cheers.